welcome to Project Ultimate Life. Today we have Bill Peeling here, the author of Stepping Out of Your Comfort Zone, The Power of Public Speaking. Bill and I are currently doing the Asian Football Cup, and we met, and he felt like somebody who I think we could benefit from hearing from because he has such an amazing, optimistic attitude. He believes in stepping out of your comfort zone and doing things you've never done for the first time, and I think we can learn a lot from him. So, Bill, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate it.
All right, so tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how you got to where you're at, what you do. Who is Bill Peeling?
Great. So thank you for having me, first of all. I'm basically from Canada. I was born and raised in the Toronto area in Canada, which is what most people know. Grew up playing sports, being outgoing and energetic towards everybody. Then I went to hospitality for my college. I finished my hospitality diploma. And then right from there, I went to Walt Disney World, Florida for a year to represent Canada at the Epcot Center Pavilion. And from there, this is what my book is based on. It's basically about how I learned how to be a public speaker because I didn't know I wasn't a public speaker until I found out. And my first time ever doing it, I was very nervous, very upset, very sweating, and everything was just bad at the time. But I learned how to do it that day, and I learned to do it well. And for the last over 30 years, I've been doing public speaking as something that has been a part of every job that I've ever had. And it has led me to more confidence in my life. It has led me to more rewarding positions, such as the Olympic Games, the Pan American Games, and then ultimately to the World Cup last year. And here we are sitting now at the Asian Cup in Doha, Qatar, which I never imagined I would ever be in.
Right.
That's just a little bit about me. I'm very small town minded, but big city ready. And I just love life, and I'm very positive and outgoing. And I believe that it's important to smile every day and just approach life in the best way possible. So that's me.
Okay. So let's kind of go back to early Bill.
Sure.
Okay. Because of course, a lot of our listeners are going to want to know, how did you become who you are? Were there any significant life challenges or life upbringing that kind of helped frame who you are and your outlook? Or did you just wake up super positive and you're like ready for life?
I think that my father left when I was 1. So my mom raised my sister and I. My mom had 2 jobs. She was always doing something that was betterment of the family. And we were forced, my sister and I were forced to be more adult at a younger age. And my mom always made sure that we felt loved and we felt important. And we basically got to make our own decisions because my mom never really said yes or no. She always said, I don't care. And that meant to us that it was up to us to make the right decision for us. And I've never really gotten into any trouble per se. I have no interest in drugs or alcohol or anything like that. I just want to live my life as pure and as good as I can. And that may sound funny to some people, but sugar's my rush, I guess. And just living life the best I can and enjoying everything that I do in life. And you can find joy in anything. And I always look for the positive in everything I do. So, yeah.
Tell us about a time that you stepped out of your comfort zone.
Right.
And how did that craft who you are today?
Yeah, so let's go back to the first day at Disney World. So when I was in high school, back in the 80s, I would stand up in front of my classmates that I've known all my life. And back then, speeches were a mandatory thing. And I had cue cards that were written word for word. And I would just look at the cue cards, and I would never look at my friends. And I would always be focused on that reality of just getting through it.
Yeah. I think actually we can all kind of relate to that.
Absolutely.
My experience
yes.
also.
Cue cards, or right now it's a phone.
Yeah.
It's the same
Index
idea.
cards.
So I got to Disney World, and this is a lot of what my book is about, just understanding how to do something you're not comfortable with. Basically, I got to Disney World in 1991, going back a few years, and I was given a folder with my speeches, and my trainer said to me, you have 3 days to learn. And right then I thought, oh no, I don't know how to memorize. Oh no, I don't even know how to speak in front of people. How am I going to do this? And the story goes like this. It's real quick, but it's a good story. I went to Circuit City in the United States, and I got a boom box and a cassette tape, and I recorded myself over and over again for all the speeches. And I thought repetitive would be the way to learn, because I'm very repetitive in my life and what I learn now. But back then, that wasn't the right way. So I took the first paragraph of first word of every paragraph, and I learned that paragraph based on the word. As long as I could remember the word, I would remember the paragraph. So I got to my first day, and it was June the 12th of 1991, and I was standing there, and the microphone, as soon as you push the button, the lights go down, and the spotlight comes on, and it's just me. And there were 607 people, because there's a little readout that says how many people are standing in front of you. And I proceeded to push the button, and my trainer was right behind me, my back here, and just reminding me of the words that I forgot. And I went through that speech, and I was shaking, and I was sweating, and I couldn't remember my words. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Old Canada. My name is Bill. And by the end, I was so upset with myself that I didn't think I would ever do it again. But I did it again, and I did it again, and I did it again. And 32 years later, 33 years later, I can still remember word for word. And that moment is just about doing something that you never thought you could do. And, Nike coins the phrase, just do it. But if you just do something in your life, it's amazing what you can do after that. Because if you don't do it the first time, you'll probably never do it. And I believe that doing something once at least gives you the opportunity to make a decision whether you want to do it again or not. And that time in itself changed everything about my life, because I was a pretty confident person before that, athletic-wise and just in general. But after that moment, I knew the world was ready for me, and I was ready for the world. So it's kind of cool.
So what would you say to somebody who is wanting to do something but is like, I can't do that?
Yeah, again, it comes right down to just making a choice to do it, and find a way in yourself to step out of that comfort area and do it. It's like trying a new food. A lot of people try new foods. A lot of people love food. I'm not a particularly great person when it comes to food, but I'll try something just to know. Food. Yeah, just to know, exactly. Just to know if I like something or not. If I don't try it one time, I'll never know. So I encourage anybody to try something that they may be afraid of. I mean, not to extremes, of course, but something simple. When we think about public speaking, for example, it's a really simple thing to do, because we do it with our friends, we do it with our family at dinners, we do it everywhere, but we just don't think of it as public speaking. So in that regard, if you just think about it as, I'm just doing what I do every day anyways, and treat it that way, it's a little easier. And that's the way I look at that.
What is one of the moments? So you talked about your Disneyland experience, and I know through our conversation some of them, but what are some of the moments that you were the most proud of? Or what is your biggest accomplishment throughout your journey of working in events, public speaking, etc.?
It's a funny story, because I have so many that we could be here all day. But at the end of the day, I would tell you this story about the Olympic Games. In 2009, I was without a job. 2008 was a pretty tough year for anybody financially, because of the world crash and everything like that. So in 2009, I went back to school in 2008 to go for my HR certificate, and just to help my rounded training experiences and so on. And in 2009, I applied on Workopolis of all sites, which I don't even know if it exists anymore.
Never heard of it.
I don't think. Yeah, it's the the LinkedIn of yesterday, where you can apply for jobs and so on. And I just applied for a job, and I applied for a job at the Vancouver Olympics in 2010. And living in Toronto, it's about a 5.5 hour flight to Vancouver, so it's all the way across the country. It's like being in the East Coast of the United States to the West Coast of the United States. And basically, I said to my partner at the time, I said, just so you know, and she was pregnant with my firstborn child, and I said, just so you know, I applied to a job today, and it just so happens with the Olympics in Vancouver. And she smiled, because her sister lived there, and she didn't think anything of it. I got a phone call later on. The phone call was pretty good. I went through the phone call, and I told the person on the phone, I said, if you need me to come to Vancouver for an interview, I'm more than happy to do that. Just let me know. Fast forward to the day. It was a Monday, 1 o'clock Vancouver time, 4 o'clock Toronto time, and I received a call the Wednesday prior, and it was the HR manager. She said, Bill, congratulations, you're one of the final 3. Just want to let you know the other 2 people are in Vancouver, and the likelihood of you getting the job on a phone interview is less, because they're here and you're not. And I said, wait a minute. I said, I told the lady on the phone in the first interview, I said, if you need me to come to Vancouver, I will be happy to come to Vancouver. And then I proceeded to say something really bold at the time. I said, because you need me at the Olympics. Because I was so confident in my abilities I said, give me half an hour. Half an hour later, I called back and I said, I'll be there at 1 o'clock in Vancouver for the interview. Went to the interview. I did my presentation. It was a training experience that I was going through for a training position. And I went through that first experience. And then right after that, they were trying to find me, or they were looking for me to do another interview right away. I ended up interviewing at 5 o'clock later on that day. And I got the job at the Olympics. And that was a huge moment in my life, because my son was born in the BC area. And everything I've done since has been a result of that Olympic experience.
So what lesson did you learn from all of that?
Go the extra mile, step out of your comfort zone to do something that other people might not do. It's a choice when you have something in front of you, like a phone interview. You can either accept the phone interview, or you can say, hey, I don't want to just do a phone interview. I want to be there, and I'll do whatever it takes to get there. So I'm all about doing whatever it takes to get where I want to be or do what I want to do. And I think that's something that is very important in the way I have an outlook in my life. And I think it's very important in today's society to just go after what you want.
Along your journey, were there any people that inspired you or were particular role models for you?
Yes, I had one lady that was kind of my mentor from the mid-90s. After my Disney experience, I worked at a major tourist attraction in Toronto called the CN Tower, and I had a lady named Christine Kerr who was in the events kind of industry, mostly with NHL hockey and Major League Baseball and major events that are like that, so All-Star games and so on. And she went to work in the UK at Legoland after the CN Tower, and then she went to work in California at the Legoland in California, and then she came back to the Toronto area and worked in the event industry, like I mentioned about the sports. And I guess that kind of subconsciously gave me the okay to say, yeah, if you want to do something, it doesn't really matter where you do it. It's if you want to do it and what you do about it. So I kind of, looking back now, especially right in this conversation, I'm thinking, yeah, that was a big reason why I'm sitting here in Doha right now and doing something that I love to do, because it doesn't matter where you do it as long as you're happy in doing it.
Mm-hmm. I think one thing that people really struggle with in life is making decisions, okay? So like making the decision to get on that flight to go to that interview. Oh, you gotta weigh out your, can I afford it, can I not? Like we tend to go back and forth in our heads, always juggling these two different, potential outcomes. Fear plays, a huge role in all of this.
Absolutely.
Was there ever a time when fear or needing to make a tough decision, like you experienced needing to make a tough decision, and what kind of like strategy or how did you get to make that decision and what was the outcome?
Right. As I get older, I think that was in my younger life, I think that fear really played a part of whether I was going to do something or not. But as I get older, I think that making decisions is more important than ever, because we don't realize how life is short until we realize how life is short. And, I'm not 20 anymore. I'm not 30 anymore. And now for me, making decisions is automatic. It's not something I have to really think about the fear factor or not fear factor, whether I can afford it or not, whether I should or shouldn't. I'm doing it because I know it's what's best for me in my life and what's best for me at the time. Coming here to the Asian Cup was a very difficult decision, because I've already left my kids, back home, and my family back home. My mom's not doing so well right now. So those kind of decisions, I know that the people who support me are supporting me. And I think that if I make a decision, I have to be comfortable with it, not based on what everybody else thinks. So while I like the fact that people support me, I'm not always looking for that. I'm always looking for what internally makes me feel like I should do something or not. And coming here to Doha for a second time was something that I didn't really think about. I just said yes because I want to do it. Mm-hmm. And that's not easy. It's not an easy thing, because there's many factors at home that could keep me there. I have an apartment, I have cars, I have things that I need to do. But ultimately, being here doesn't stop what's happening back there. It just enhances the story when I get back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. So in times of when you're feeling a bit uncertain or you have doubts, how do you stay resilient and optimistic during those times?
I'm an optimistic person first anyways. I always look for the positive first, because I think that when you look for the negative first, I have a philosophy on how I think about negativity and how that looks. I think the more positive I am, and this is my opinion, it's not anybody else's necessarily, the more you deal with negativity And the more you focus on negativity, the more the negativity gets to you. So I make a conscious choice to deal with the negativity as fast as I can. I don't want to use the word fast, but as efficiently as I can. And once I've dealt with that negativity, it's right back to positivity, because there's always going to be times of negative. You're going to have deaths in the family. You're going to have things happen. All those things have happened to me. But ultimately, if I look at the death of my father, for example, he died just last year, or 2 years ago, sorry. And after that, I wasn't in a very good place, because I thought I had to focus on my dad's death. But I know my dad would want me to keep going and keep being positive and keep moving forward and keep doing what I wanted to do. And I bet you he would be here right now supporting me in Doha. He would probably make the trip here just to support me. So I'm always looking for the support, because I think support of friends and family is important. And talking to the people you trust the most, because if you talk to the people you trust the most, you'll get the honest answer, good or bad.
Yeah. How do you balance? So you travel a lot, events all over. How do you balance sort of those life demands with staying healthy, optimistic, positive all around?
I think that I look to my kids. I have a 14-year-old boy and a 12-year-old girl. They are very used to me traveling around the world. And I think that one of the most important things I try to understand from that balance that you're talking about is, I want my kids to know it's okay. It's okay to do something you want to do. It's okay to travel to do it. And it's okay to really go after the things you really want. Because I think in society today, we lose ourselves in the norm, or the conforming to other people's expectations. And ultimately, they know, and my friends and family know, that this is who I am and this is what I do. And it's okay to step out of that, comfort area of home and do something drastically different for yourself, because I love everything I do in this situation.
Yeah. All right, so your kids. What would you say to kids who were just kind of starting out their journey, or adolescents, or even an adult who, they've been making certain choices and they've gotten to a certain place in life and they want to press the reset button on their journey and kind of start again? Like, what would you say to them to inspire them to take action in accordance with their goals or their dreams or their vision?
Absolutely. One thing I think about when I was younger is, find what you love and do what you love. It sounds so simple, but I've been in so many situations where I've been in love with what I do and didn't feel like a job, or didn't feel like a chore of any kind. And then I've been in positions where I'm like, I cannot believe I'm doing this. So sometimes you have to take the good with the bad, and life is about up and down. It's not always about consistency. It's not always going to be that way. But find what you love to do. And if you love to do something, grab it and just go with it, because it never feels like a job after that. And it never feels like something you have to do. I don't have to get out of a bed in the morning when I'm here. I just get out of bed knowing it's going to be a great day because I'm doing what I love to do. So find something you love, get really good at it, do it well, and continue on that path, because it'll never feel like work, ever.
And so somebody who wrote a book called Stepping Out of Your Comfort Zone, The Power of Public Speaking, what would you say to those young authors out there, or people who wanted to get into public speaking?
Find ways to do it. And there's a couple of ways as an adult you can do it. As Toastmasters is one of the really big things that is out there to find a way to do that. Find a mentor, someone who knows the path that you're taking, has maybe been on the path you're taking, like I have with the person I mentioned, and basically just continue to work towards that goal. Practice, practice, practice. I cannot tell you how important practice is, because once you practice enough, it never feels like it's a difficult thing to do. Speaking at any time, I can find comfort in any situation now, because I have no fear about speaking to people at any time. It could be at the gas station, at the store, donut shop, wherever the place is. I never feel uncomfortable speaking to people. And that's something that I'm really proud of, and it really takes a lot to realize that if you just do it first and then you practice it, it's easy to get better at it. So I think that's important.
So here at Project Ultimate Life, we are literally on a mission to inspire and empower people to live happy, healthy, sustainable lives. What does living your ultimate life mean to you?
There's many factors into that. I think happiness with yourself, it starts with happiness in your own person, and being true to yourself when it comes to what you want out of life. some people say it's just about money. Well, for me, it's not just about money. Money's the byproduct of the happiness that you provide to yourself. Coming to Doha was the first thing I thought, and then I thought about the money afterwards, because I wanted the experience more than I wanted the money. The money's great, and it'll make you, have things and do things and be able to afford things, but ultimately the experience makes me happier in my world. And I think that we all get caught up in money a lot of the times, but if you find your happiness within yourself, everything comes with it. The joy in the job and the money also comes with it as well. So as long as you're happy doing what you're doing, I think that the rest of it follows, not necessarily in any particular order, but if you just go after the money first, in some cases, I think that's a dangerous game, because it doesn't always promise you happiness. But if you go after the experience, again, the rest of it follows.
Where do you see yourself now going in the future? Like, what does the future for Bill Peeling look like?
Based on my past 2 experiences here in Doha with the World Cup and now the Asian Cup, I really feel that getting into the sports stadium reality is something I thrive in and I love to do more than anything. Right now I'm currently in the process of working towards a career position at my local stadium at home. The Rogers Centre in Toronto is something that I'm really striving to be at next, because I think after this experience, especially for the Asian Cup, being a stadium venue manager, it's something that I love more than anything, and I just want to be a part of a sports team and part of a sports environment. And I think being part of that culture in one of my favorite sports, being baseball, is probably as good as it gets from now on. So I would like to retire in something that I love to do, and I think that would be amazing if I could do that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
If somebody wanted to get a hold of you and they wanted to read your book, how would they get a hold of you?
Yeah, I sell my book privately from my own email. So it's billpeeljr@gmail.com. So billpeeljr@gmail.com. That's how you can find me if you send me a note. It's not a very expensive book, but I'll charge you the shipping and costs as well, and I'll also sign it for you. So if you're interested in my book, it's billpeeljr@gmail.com.
Amazing. Is there anything else you want to end off?
No, I love the fact that you're doing this, and I think that people will get a great result from just having conversations with people in the same mindset. Mindset is hard to change, but if you are willing and you want to do the mindset change, it's always good to listen to someone like Jess, who actually has the mindset of being the better person, being the better self, being better at life, and I think that's a huge positive. So I thank you for that.
Aw, thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
All right. Thank you.